Jumbo, fellow adventurers, and happy Friday! Boy, do I have something for you to think on. This is going to go deep. This is going to challenge a lot of conventional wisdom. It's going to probably go absolutely against the grain of everything you've ever thought and believed in before. But it's a question that has come up periodically in my last 21 years of teaching, and it is so juicy. I can see the issue that I'm about to explain to you, but that doesn't mean I have the solution. But by thinking about it and talking about it, we'll get there. You're probably wondering what this is. Let me share a little parallel as well. For 20 years as an adult, I knew I ought to become a vegetarian slash vegan. And while I focused on it, I was still eating meat, chicken McNuggets, quarter pounders with cheese. But by talking about it and thinking about it, the day came some 20 years ago, hey, I've been at this a long time, that I finally made that leap. And so this is my hope and my thought today, to plant some seeds of thought, not to revolutionize your life, but on the heels of our conversation yesterday about inequality and extreme capitalism, the concept of meritocracy, which seems to be ingrained in our civilization. The concept of rewarding people based on what they've earned, based on merit, based on blood, sweat, tears, ingenuity, and creativity. Oh my gosh, a very slippery slope. Let me put this question in terms that might resonate a little bit more for you. If Mike Dooley, I've heard before, thoughts become things unfailingly, and we are all created equal, that we all have the exact same power in our being to live deliberately, create consciously, and live the life of our dreams, shouldn't we banish all forms of charity, community, and government assistance? Well, let me read that again. Community assistance, aka government assistance. I know government has a bad rap, bad image, and deservedly so in most quarters of society. But what is government but community? Okay, we do our best to put some people in power, and then we throw tomatoes at them. But shouldn't we banish charity, government assistance, community assistance? Because don't these things, charity and such assistance, reinforce a dependency upon others? Aren't we stealing people's power away from them by giving them food stamps or a leg up or enforcing a minimum wage? What are you thinking, huh? What are you thinking right now? This, I hope you'll appreciate, is food for thought. Okay, I don't have answers, but it is food for thought. Okay, while everyone's thoughts become things, while all men and all women are created equal. Equal, equal, equal. Nothing else in their lives is equal. Nothing. So if we were all born to John and Jane Doe, and we all looked like baby Doe, and we all had the same amount of love, and the same amount of toys, and the same amount of inspiration, then hell yes, we would all expect to thrive in the world. And one day that's coming, although we're not going to all look like baby Doe. But nothing else is the same. Such presumptions that thoughts become things and all things are equal imply, all men or women are created equal, imply that there's a level playing field. There's no level playing field. Okay? So it is documented and well known that if you are born into an affluent family, chances are wildly greater that you will be affluent and wealthy. Similarly, if you are born into a disadvantaged neighborhood, family, whatever, chances are extreme you will perpetuate this. People naively think, if you give me freedom, I will be able to make anything out of it. Hence, the United States is the greatest nation on earth. Well, we talked a little bit about greatness and happiness and what defines that yesterday. But this is so not the case. Statistics and life tracking has shown that freedom has almost nothing to do with whether or not you will be wildly successful as our society measures success in terms of your own personal freedom, in terms of your wealth, in terms of your self-confidence, in terms of your happiness. Nothing is equal from one individual to another, from one family to another, from one neighborhood to another, from one city, town, country, continent to the other. Nothing else is equal. So when you realize the reason things aren't equal is because there's so many awesome reasons to choose time and space for the lessons you'll learn, for the treasures you'll unveil, for the love that is truly everywhere and constantly being showered upon us. Clearly, that is the case. If you're watching me and you're following Mike Dooley in any way, shape, or form, you know that is the case. But with that being the case, then how come everybody's not born, into Beverly Hills 90210? Well, maybe those values are not so important. What we actually see is a lot of people being born into poor families. A lot of people being born into destitute nations, poverty or war-stricken. This is not their luck in life. This is their creation for reasons we cannot see that are honorable. Even in a starving nation or a war-torn nation, there is love, there is camaraderie, there is joy, there is growth, there is one another, there is life and coffee and sunrises and rainbows. Don't be so quick to judge a poor nation, a poor neighborhood, or a poor family simply because of the merit or the dollar bills that they've accumulated. There are many other things going on in all of our lifetimes, in your lifetime, way different than my lifetime, way different than your lifetime. Elon Musk's lifetime is way different than all of our lifetimes. Not better. You know that. Not worse. Doesn't everyone deserve respect? Doesn't everyone deserve love and opportunity? And we can't just say, well, you chose that lifetime for reasons of your own. So, you go ahead and you go live that. You made your bed, now sleep in it. As I have shared in other spiritual tune-ups, oftentimes there will be people who avail themselves of tragedy or hardship in part for the wake-up call that will give to others around the world who are like, oh my gosh, what can I do about those victims in Haiti who've just suffered another earthquake? Could I write a check? Could I send some love? Could I open my heart? Could I behave differently here? And part of the objective of the earthquake in Haiti will have been met in your heart. This doesn't mean, that's your earthquake, not my earthquake. You know that, right? You're already charitable. You already help people. But how many times in our life and in our world do we rely on meritocracy, as I said yesterday, with an Ayn Rand mentality, that the world is full of, leaders and heroes or moochers, scavengers, people belly aching and complaining and wanting free handouts. If we gave them dignity and respect and we spread the wealth a little more freely, they would be able to find their own power. But because we don't do that, because we frown on them, because we have a society that's built almost entirely on competition and thereby winners and losers, we have robbed further our brothers and sisters of dignity, and we can't say, it's your fault. Your thoughts become things like my thoughts become things, and you should just model your behavior after me. That's not fair. That's not reasonable. That's not love. So this is an exciting topic. I think you'll feel that I believe that. Do I have the answers? It's going to be a slow metamorphosis until we get there, like the abolition of the disgusting heritage of slavery. People knew it was wrong for hundreds of years before it was finally eradicated in most corners of the world. Like me becoming a vegetarian, I had to talk about it for 20 years and slowly make inroads before I was able to get there. If we can start thinking about things like this, it'll become a lot easier to be living things like this, and slowly but surely companies, I'm not even doing this in my own company. Sorry, team. It's not like we're all getting paid exactly the same. We ought to be. Not because of some mandate from a government. That never works. That's communism, and I don't believe in that. Although there's a place for primitive, hierarchical organizations at primitive times. We are primitive times. We perhaps until this point have functioned better through competition than we would if there wasn't competition. So this is not saying everything is all bad, but as we awaken to higher vibrations and greater truths and are motivated by love, not just for ourselves, but for everyone else, we will start contemplating things differently. And here is my final parting analogy that I really think might tip the scales in you understanding what I'm trying to convey. Let's just say, based on some of the geniuses on our planet right now, scientifically, that we're able to launch a full-scale deep space colony. Okay, it's going to be multiple rockets and a gigantic space station, and they're going to go out there and they're never going to come back. These are going to be the pioneers of outer space. Maybe they'll go to Mars, maybe they'll have a colony somewhere, but let's just say only 25 human beings, a mixture of men and women, a mixture of the races, a mixture of everything, some artists, some scientists, just the diversity is going to really make this a rich space colony, okay? Diversity has profound value. Do you think, as they're leaving our solar system, that they would say, okay, now look, what we're going to do is we're going to find out who is the most productive, and we're all going to get a little allowances, and we're all going to be able to save that allowances. So if you want to have 2 apple pies for dessert one day, or when we finally build our first manufactured homes on a distant planet, you're going to have the wherewithal to buy that. And so we're going to pay everybody based on how much they contribute. 25 people going into space forever and ever. And do you think we would come up with some kind of merit-based system to dole out an allowance so that when we can start inhabiting more through our offspring and have maybe a house or a teleportation vehicle, some people are going to have the really cool kinds and some people are going to have the low income kinds? Or do you think we would just be like, look, we're all in this together. Okay, when one falls, we all fall. When one rises, we all rise. We're here because we love life. We love it with a passion. We love one another. We love exploration. We love space. You love science. I love music. But we have equal powers. We're all going to eat the same amount of food, the same amount of apple pies. When we build homes, nobody's going to want a bigger home than the rest of the folk. Come on, there's more important fish to fry, right? Okay, so that's the way it would be for 25 people in a deep space colony. And you would be the first to say, we're all going to give it our heart and soul, and we're all going to do our best. And if somebody got really lazy 1 month or 1 year or 1 decade, do you think you'd be like, you're not getting breakfast, dude. You're just not getting breakfast because you're not. Or would you all be like, hey, what's wrong? Can we help you? Let's be there for little Mikey. He's not feeling good. He's homesick for planet Earth. He really misses, Niagara Falls. Do you think we would shun that person and rob them of their dignity? Or would we rally around them and do all we could to level them up and continue to give them a full breakfast and equal shares of apple pie? We would do the latter. We would be like family in outer space, the 25 of us. Now let me change this. It's not 25, it's 1,000 people. What happens? What happens then? No, it's not 1,000 people. It's 100,000 people. We've got levitation rocking. We've got a spaceship the size of Orlando, Florida, and we're going to go into space with 100,000 people. Now, should we have meritocracy? The answer starts to be like, well, yeah. What if some dude I don't know is just freeloading? Oh, now it's because you don't know them. You've turned them into some kind of less than human creature. They're not up to par. They're not like you. No, they're just like the same 25 people. You're in this together and you know one another. It takes a village, right? And so now when we got 100,000 people, or your city is made up of 1 million people, or the planet is made up of 7.8 billion people, you start to think some of those people are crazy. Cray, man. Some of those people are greedy. They're bad. They're evil. They want to plunder. They don't want to work. They want to steal. It's like, no, they're just homesick for Niagara Falls. Do you see what happens when the numbers get big? We depersonalize, and then we put our filters and our beliefs about ourselves and society and humanity on others that we don't understand. We demonize them, and that further alienates them, and boom, here we are today on spaceship Earth, demonizing one another. And now more than ever, it's become so apparent because of technology. We have the internet and we can see what we're doing, and we're outside and we're watching the news. And it's like, oh my gosh, we need to see each other as brothers and sisters. We need to value the street sweeper as much as the heart surgeon. Literally. Ultimately, we will all recognize that we are equal children of the divine. And when it comes to pay, it's like everyone's going to have a car, everyone's going to have a Levitron, everyone's going to have friends and family. It's not going to be about this material grab of competition and survival of the fittest, and you didn't work hard enough, and you're not motivated enough, and you're just looking for handouts, and we're only going to pay you $5 an hour. And hey, I don't have all the answers, but I can see where we're going. I'm not even there yet, but I'm going to do what I can, and I have been doing what I can to incrementally change my worldviews and not be one of capitalism versus socialism. It's like, come on, it's time to redefine everything. This share that I'm doing with you right now is mightily motivated by a TED Talk video that I saw a couple of hours ago. And I'm going to post the link to that right after I post this spiritual tune-up. It is by Michael Sandel, The Tyranny of Merit. Just absolutely brilliant. I do not agree with everything he says. He speaks in terms of luck and good fortune. We create those, but yet, again, we may have chosen a life to bond with a certain person, and that put us in the bad neighborhood. That doesn't mean that we should not be helped and lifted up out of the belief system that we chose to be born into. So I don't agree with everything that Michael Sandel sells, but I agree with almost everything he says. What an amazing mind. All right, fellow adventurers, I got carried away. All right, long tune-up, but thanks for letting me do this. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. May it be the best weekend of your entire life so far. Be sure to check out the link below this video, live or recorded, and you can join me and David G on Wednesday, September 1, for a 21-day adventure into meditation. 21 videos, 21 guided meditations, 4 90-minute workshops, a community, notes from the universe on the weekend for a price you choose as low as $27, not $2,700. It would be worth it. $27. This is my attempt to bring in inclusivity. This is David G's attempt as well. We're doing this together. You're going to get the best of David G. I'm going to be the moderator. We'd love to see you there. If it doesn't measure up to your expectations or my promised benefits, then you get a full refund, okay? So click the link below and join David G and I this Wednesday for a 21-day adventure into meditation. Thanks for your questions. Post them below on Facebook or Instagram. Happy weekend. I'll see you on Monday. And now I better let you go. Tally ho, amigos. Hasta pronto.